This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about flyers, how to produce flyers for your clients from Flex and also from Cloud CMA. And then we're also going to talk about blogging and how to be effective with your blogging, how to really have your blogs stand out and how to really make them visible to the world. But to start with, I wanted to share a little bit of information about Flex. And I don't know how many of you use the flyer option through Flex, but what I can do right now is show you how to do it. I'm going to pick up a random listing from here. I'll pick up something from the hot sheet today, something that looks like it might make a good flyer. How about this one on Maria Drive? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a detail of this to start with. And then I decide, okay, this is a listing I want to go ahead and show. This one here. I want to go ahead and show in a tour, or I want to send this off to a client. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm going to print this. Now, by default, you have all these little print options on the side. But if you want to come down here and say I want to do a detail, this is where you have your buttons pop up as to what kind of detail you want. So you can do an ORE, a real estate report with large font with all photos, or you can do a flyer. You have two options, actually three options here, a 7-photo flyer, a flyer with a map, and a 1-line flyer. So let me pick flyer with a map. So I've picked that as what I want to see. And now what I'm going to do is kind of pull up a PDF of this. Well, that didn't work. Excuse me. It's because I still have, get rid of that. This thing popped. So I got to get rid of that one. So I'm just doing the detail. So let me pull up what a flyer with a map looks like. And you can see if you've branded and loaded your own contact information here under your profile page, you have your photo here. I have now put together a little flyer that I could print out and use for my client. The one problem with this particular flyer is it doesn't have everything in here. The public remarks are limited. We have up to 1,000 public remarks we can actually produce on all of our listings. And this version of this flyer only produces, you can only see a few of them. So this is better than nothing. If I wanted to do a 7-photo flyer, again, let me pull that one up so see what that one looks like. This one has a little bit more information. It has those 7 photos, but look, it's eliminated a lot of the features. So it's not giving you a very full look of your flyers. So for people who would rather have a little bit more information on this, there's options. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a cut. I'm going to copy, excuse me, I'm going to do a copy of the flyer of the, excuse me, just copy the actual MLS information. Now I'm going to go over to Cloud CMA. If you guys have not gone to Cloud CMA yet, please see me because it's a wonderful tool. It produces some beautiful CMAs. You can also do a buyer tour. But what I wanted to do is jump right over here to the flyers. So first thing I have done here on my profile page is I have set in my picture. So I've done that under the settings tool here in Cloud CMA as it is logged. So I've made sure I changed the avatar. By default, the avatar in Cloud CMA is your initials. If you actually load your picture will show up. So, and make sure also that your information is here, your full name, your company name. You have your logo loaded up here, your email address, all that sort of stuff. Once you've done that, you save your profile. But I'm going to jump back in here into the actual flyer page. So what I can do is I can make a whole slew of flyers through Cloud CMA, which are better than what you can produce off of Flex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flyer. I'm going to call it test flyer. anything I may want to do as far as any private notes on that. But now what I'm going to do is put in that MLS number I copied from Flex. So now I'm going to fetch the listing by checking that box right there. So now I have the listing pulled up. It's right there. It's this property off of Eagle Road that we just randomly picked. I can add additional listings if I want as well. So I can make multiple flyers at the same time. But now what I want to do is do a custom flyer. So what I can do here is produce by this, a custom flyer. I can change the title. So I can change the title of this to for sale. So I've changed the title to for sale. I can change the theme. In this case, I'm showing middle range listing. I can change it from the luxury brand listing, say it was a luxury listing. I would change it so that my flyer here showed our gold logo. So it's say I was showing luxury listings instead of regular listings. I can also change the layout. And this is what's really nice about this. I can pick from 12 different layouts. So say I wanted to have lots and lots and lots of pictures showing on this property. Here they all are. And you can see I also have all of my particular, all the information on the property detail is showing up there as well. I can change the layout to, say I want this layout. There's all kinds of different things and different looks you can produce. What's so nice about this is you're taking someone else's listing, you're branding it to yourself, and you're handing it to your client so that when you go on your tours with them, you can show them, well, here's a listing, here's information on this listing, and here's information on this listing, here's information on this listing. And again, you can produce it in all these different options. So there you go. Here's another one with 4 pictures. What was so nice about this is you can accommodate whatever look you're looking to produce for your client through Cloud CMA. And I think this is a great report, a great way of producing a document that would be very helpful. And when I'm ready with it, and I like what I've got, I can publish it. And then when I publish it, then I can have a flyer ready to go for my client. So any questions on that, guys? Anyone have a question on that? Let me open up the side panel so I can see. Anyone have a question on that? I think this is a really helpful tool. So that way you can actually, here's my PDF when it's done here. Ready for printing, ready for, PDF is ready to go. I can print it out and then I can hand it to my client. So I just think this is a great tool. This is one of the things of Cloud CMA besides all the property tours you can do, plus the wonderful CMAs. So probably after we're done with this, I'm going to send out again the link to our initial training on this, just because it's such a good tool. Okay, so I'm going to collapse that down. Now I'm going to go back to talk about blogging. So this is our company website, and I have written so many blogs over the years. This is the latest one we wrote. Actually, Emily wrote this one, and I just put it into the website, and it was written May 7th on helpful home ideas. I have a lot of different types of listings, types of topics for blogging about. This is one we wrote about of going back to work soon, training tips for handling dog separation anxiety. It's kind of a silly thing, but it's something that people can relate to. I also talked about how Bend, Oregon residents love their dogs. These are Emily's dogs. We wrote about something that obviously relates to people. Here's Emily. She took actually Brittany took these pictures of tips about what to do to get the dog to not be anxious when you're leaving. And again, this is just something that Emily knows about. She did a disclaimer in here that we're not professional dog trainers. We've just successfully used these methods ourselves. And the thing that's interesting about it is we have had, since she produced this, 390 people read this blog. It's something that would not be your typical thing to thinking about. Now, since I clicked on that 391, it's not your typical thing to have in a real estate website, but it's helpful. So if you look at the type of topics that we've produced over the years, we have neighborhoods to see in Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon real estate trends. This is my big one that I use all the time, at least once or twice a month. Fun real estate facts. Happenings in Bend. Bend makes another list. Real estate around the world. Again, the helpful home ideas. Bend premier real estate news. Places to see in Central Oregon. I've been producing a lot for this one lately too. All my hikes that I go on, I've been blogging about things. So here's like Painted Hills. This is a hike that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I've had 208 views on this one. The one I did on Sparks Lake, that one has had 545 views. This was a controversial one. I heard some negative on it because I was just basically saying this is what it is. There's potholes, toilets were filthy, but it's a beautiful place. In contrast, I said this one, the Painted Hills, is ready for viewing. It's wonderful. These are the sort of things that you can blog about, all kinds of stuff, things that are of interest to you, things that would drive people back to your website. But let me talk a little bit about the ones that I use all the time, Bend, Oregon real estate trends. These are the things that are the bread and butter about why people should be reading a lot about what's happening in our trends. I do these every month. We talk about May trends. We talk about April trends. Talk about Bend prices expected to drop. Oregon trends in March. So I do these every single month. Look at the one I did in March. We've had 991 views. Now, how do we get this to be seen out there? So the way you blog, this is the back end. And if you guys are at all interested in taking up blogging yourself on your website that we have put together for you, the subdomain website, or if you have a blogging section in your own website that's not a subdomain, here's how I really think is most effective of doing this. First of all, let me go back here. So do you think, let's go back to one of these trend ones that I wrote. Let's go to the May trends. So I'm gonna go into here so you can see what we do in here. The first thing is you've got to put in here in your title certain keywords. What are the words that you want Google and Bing to pick up on so that this particular blog can be seen? In our local market, it's not only our local market, it's anywhere for real estate trends. It's the name of the city, it's the state, and then it's real estate. So Bend, Oregon real estate. On a secondary case, it's Bend real estate, so the city and real estate. But Bend, Oregon real estate is the #1 search term in our market. If you were in Portland, it would be Portland, Oregon real estate. If you were in Detroit, Michigan, it'd be Detroit, Michigan real estate. So basically, those are the key words for trends to be able to, for Google to pick up on that. So when you're writing your thing, I also put down here with a slash, it's the May 2020 trends. And I do this so that way people can identify what is the particular month that it's all about. That's the entry title, and it's really important that your title have some of these keywords in here. Now, the second thing I have in here is it's a subtitle. It's Bend real estate sales impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. If you look at this, Bend real estate sales, these are also key words. In this case, this particular line, look at the format here, it's a header 2. So the way Google works, it's looking for titles, it's looking for headers. It doesn't want to see tons of heading 1. Your entry title is a header 1. You can have a header 2, and then down here, this next one here, that's a heading 3. Again, if you stuff your blog with tons of these headers, Google doesn't like it. It sees that you're shouting at things, but if you put them in different types of headers, it likes it. So what I have done here is I have a header 2 in this case, and here I have a header 3. Now look what I did in this case. Lack of inventory, the biggest factor impacting Bend OR real estate. So here again, I'm using another way of phrasing Bend real estate. In this case, it's the abbreviation of the state. This is also something that people use and something that Google likes. So if I was blogging again about Portland real estate, I could say Portland OR real estate. So in this particular blog, I have, again, my entry title, I have a header 2 and a header 3. And then what I have in here is my text, what I am saying here. I'm also talking about COVID-19 pandemic. And this is true. Does my blog actually make sense? Does this blog actually, have I done the research so that what I'm writing about actually makes sense? So what I talked about here is the May 2020 real estate sales figures have been published the second full month of the COVID-19 pandemic and its subsequent impact on the Bend economy is over. Contrary to the thought process of Bend single-family real estate sales. So again, now this is not a header of any sort, but I also have content that brings in the sort of search that people will be looking for. So Bend single-family real estate sales is also words that people will blog or that people will put into Google searches to pull up information. So I have Bend single-family real estate sales strong in May. The biggest limitation to sales was the lack of inventory, with sellers either delaying listing or pulling listings off the market. Buyers, however, have entered the market in force and are purchasing Bend single-family homes. Again, here's another thing, Bend single-family homes, driving inventory levels below 2 months. So here is data that actually comes from MLS. So it is accurate figures. When I'm citing data, you see I put a little asterisk here because I need to cite my source. So I've cited my source down here, user data defined, all data from multiple listing service of Central Oregon. Data deemed reliable but not guaranteed. So the information is cited. In my third heading here, this is where I pulled in a chart, which I pulled off of InfoSparks, and I'm showing the information. So the blog is not super long. You don't need to have a long blog, but you do need to have information that's informative. I also pull in on each of these blog trends. I like to pull in a picture of some sort. It could be a picture of some trends, arrows going down, arrows going up. In this case, lately I've been putting pictures of our listing signs out on property. So when Brad's going out to take Matterports, I'm asking him to also, would you mind please taking a picture of the sign? Not that we ever include the signs in our MLS photos, because obviously MLS doesn't like that, but I do like it for our trend reports because it shows here's another one of our listings out there. So I've been rotating through our different brokers, different types of signs. Sometimes we have our luxury signs, sometimes we have our regular signs. It's just different things. So when you blog, if you've never blogged before, these little categories up here help tremendously. I can insert an image using this. I can insert a video using this. This is where I would embed a source code. Now I shared that with you guys when I showed how you can take the InfoSparks information. We did that at a meeting a couple meetings ago, in which we talked about taking that information, which is taking this chart but making it live, a live stream. You can embed that in here. These are also ways of inserting a link, a backlink to something else. These are obviously formatting things, and I use this for the bullet lists. I sometimes use the table to get insert photos. I can show one of those. I use the table for photos in some of my hiking blogs because I have lots of pictures in there and I want to keep them looking formatted well, and so the little table helps with that. So besides all of the stuff here that I've written, the key on the side here is how you actually, there's other things that you do. So I categorized it into here. These are Bend, Oregon real estate trends. As I share with you, my blog has all these different types of things that we can talk about here. Bend's best bites are things like when we've been going out to restaurants, we've been blogging about that. But in here is where you also put your meta information. Besides having highlighted information here in your headers 2 and headers 3, you also put down your meta keywords. These are, again, the things that are most prominent that people who are looking for in Google trying to find information will pull this stuff up. So Bend real estate sales, Bend Oregon real estate, Bend OR real estate, Bend single family homes, Bend homes for sale. Also, I take these exact same things and I put them down as my blog tags. So they're the same thing. I just do a cut and paste, put them here. After I've saved it, the program just shrinks them all up and separates them by a comma, but they're all here too. So you want to be tagging, you want to have your meta keywords, and then here's your description. You need to write a meta description. So but it has to make sense. So the second full month of the COVID-19 pandemic has passed. So the keywords, COVID-19 pandemic has passed, and its impact on the Bend, Oregon real estate market is now known. Pending sales are way up, while listings are way down. Now is the time to list Bend real estate. Bend homes for sale are not, oh, something didn't pull up here, sorry. So this isn't good, I'll get rid of that. Doesn't make sense. The other thing I do here is I upload a photo. So besides embedding the photo here, I upload the photo here. And this is the photo that is used when we when we spread this out into the internet world. Once I've made my blog done, I can also put in links if I want to link back to a previous blog I've written or outside information. Say I've pulled some data from NAR. I may want to have a backlink here to NAR so people can pull up some of the information I've pulled here. So that way my blog has more credibility because I'm also showing this is where I got the information. If you want to read the article yourself, here's some of the links on it. Once I've done all this, I then save my changes. So once you've saved your changes, you're ready to go. Now I've published it, yes. And so now let me go back to look at the actual blog itself. So this is where it is, this is where it pulled up. So I've actually written 98 blog entries about Bend, Oregon real estate trends. I write them every month, minimum. Sometimes I also write about luxury trends. Sometimes I write about different kinds of trends, but over the years, I've written 98 blogs about this. So when I read my full post about it, again, here's where it is. Now, once you've got your blog written, you want to share it. So when I put the share button here, this is where I can share it directly here to Facebook. If I share it on Facebook, I want to make sure that I am sharing it not on my personal page, but on my business page. So in this case, I'm sharing it on my business page. So this is the photo that we loaded the last section. Here is the URL of where this is from. This is the meta stuff we put in here. Remember, the second full month of the COVID-19 pandemic has passed and its impact on, and it's all there. And then because this is going to Facebook, I would write something about it here. So, and when I write on Facebook, I'm trying to get this as far out as I possibly can through Facebook. So I will start tagging certain things. So I would say so remember, you can use, by tagging, you use the that at symbol. So I'm going to say Bend, Oregon. And if I do this, I'm going to say Bend, Oregon. And did you see that particular, let me do it again here. Do you see that 44,093 people like this, Bend, Oregon? This is the Bend, Oregon Facebook page. So when I tag it by doing this, that means when I post this blog or post this post on the company Facebook page, it'll also show up on the Bend, Oregon Facebook page. So that way I'm spreading this information out. So anyone who happens to be on that Bend, Oregon Facebook page at that same time will see this blog. So the Bend, Oregon real estate market is, let's say, has been impacted by COVID-19 during May. Our blog looks at the latest trends. Then I hashtag Bend, Oregon real estate. Hashtags are other ways that people will pick up on something like that. I usually hashtag just a few, Bend real estate. Again, I TATE, maybe Bend homes for sale, things like that. So when you hashtag, there's other ways that people can see it. Then I would post it to Facebook. That's the easy way. Since I've already done it though, I'm not going to be posting it again. I've also linked my company Facebook page with Twitter. So once I post it here, it automatically goes to Twitter. Google Plus no longer exists, but because our company website no longer is old, I used to always post these things on Google Plus, but I can also share this via email. So this is another way I could share this out to my sphere of influence through email if I wanted to do that. Another thing that I would do with this blog is I would take the URL here, I'd copy it, and I would also put that on LinkedIn. So because a market trend report is something that's helpful to have on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional network. It's another way people could find you. So by default, I have my personal page, but I also have a company page that I have set up here. And I will post it on my company page. By starting a post, and I put in just the URL like that, and it pulls up my trend report, again, right here. Once it's been pulled up, I can get rid of that and just write something. Once I'm done, I can hashtag again, and I can post it. So, does anyone have questions about that? Anyone have questions?
Linnea, this is Jane.
Yeah.
If I post something to Instagram, it automatically feeds to my Facebook and Twitter account, and my Facebook automatically posts through to LinkedIn, so you don't have to go through separate steps. I don't know if you've ever looked at doing that.
I have the Instagram does go back and forth. Facebook will go to Instagram, Instagram goes to Facebook. I have never known you could automatically have it go to LinkedIn, Jane. I've never known that they related each other. Again, I've linked Twitter, I've linked Instagram, but I didn't know you could link it to LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll find out how that works because somebody did it for me back in the day. But if you start on Instagram with your post, and it's difficult because you can't put links in Instagram per se, but if you are just posting a picture, that can also be automatically connected to your Facebook and Twitter pages.
Yes, going that direction. I know for sure you can do that. I'm not really good on Instagram. It was designed to be mobile, and so it's like you put it on Instagram and then you go backward to Facebook and to Twitter, and that's something that I've had some trouble with personally. But I think that it's wonderful, and I've got Brittany here in the office working on ways of making sure that we are really utilizing Instagram, just because Instagram is where the millennials are. It's something that they don't use Facebook anywhere near the way people of our generation does.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that I find really interesting about this, and this is what we do, when we post these things out there, they are seen through these ways. So if you go to Google, so I'm going to pull up Bend, Oregon real estate trends. If I pull up Bend, Oregon real estate trends, you will see that the #1 website that pulls up ahead of Redfin, ahead of Zillow, is our blog. That to me is significant, and that's why we are seen the way we are. If I also put in Bend real estate, again, that's a keyword again. Now up here on Google, these are all the ads that are being run right now. We do run ads ourselves, but we're not running any right this time. Here's Realtor.com. Here's Zillow. Here's Bend Premier. And here we are organically. We are ahead of Redfin. We're ahead of Trulia. And we're even ahead of the person who owns BendRealEstate.com. Ahead of Century 21, ahead of Remax. So we are the highest ranking local company organically in these keywords. Again, this generates interest to us. For Bend, Oregon real estate, which is the #1. Again, these ads up here. Here's Realtor.com, here's Zillow, here's Redfin, here's Bend Real Estate, here's Trulia, but here we are. So we go up and down based upon how often we're blogging, because Google is looking, scrolling through the internet regularly with their little spiders and pulling things up with fresh content. So not only do we change out things through our blog, we're also changing things out regularly on the front page of our website. There are certain keywords that we will put out there regularly too. So here we are again, down here locally, ahead of Remax, ahead of Century 21. So we work on this all the time. Some of those other interesting blogs, so like Helpful Home Ideas. So again, we talked about the dogs, talked about some things here. 5 reasons your neighbor's Bend, Oregon home is worth more than yours, which is interesting. This is one of the things. We had over 2,000 hits on that, which I think is great. Here's a home and garden show. This one, what do icicles hanging from your roof mean? I wrote that one back in January of 2017. That's when we had that first really heavy snowstorm. We've had almost 7,000 people look at this. It obviously hit a hot spot with a lot of people at that point in time, and I keep on having people see this. So if I actually end up just Googling, what do icicles on roof mean? Here we get an ad from Central Oregon Disaster Restoration, but #2, that's us. Then we get the ice dam removal guys. Then we get Allstate. We get National Post, Energy Smart. So here's something from West Michigan Roofing. But here we are. What do icicles hanging from your roof mean? And to me, obviously, anything that we can do to draw people back to our website, because now here they click on us, they're here on our website. They'll now at that point see, oh, we're on a real estate website. Let me see what's the local search all about. Oh, let me find out what's happening in Camp Sherman. So they start looking and using our website. The whole thing that we are doing is to drive people back to us so they see us, they are relevant, they register on our website, and before you know it, they become our clients. That's why over the years, just having a great website, it's helpful, but you have to get that website out there to the world, and the way you do it is through blogging. Any questions on that, guys? Any comments about that? I find this is really interesting. I posted this blog yesterday. I've had 85 views on it. One's earlier, 245 views. I mean, this is just going back, not with any categories, it's just chronologically the most recent things. So some of the stuff here, some of these are through Keeping Current Matters, 7 strategies for a 2020 open house. I did not produce this particular thing, but I have the rights to use this. I posted it. Again, it gives us fresh content, and I will keep on utilizing these tools and then doing the meta tags, using the meta keywords in there. Again, it's fresh content. Here's one also about, do you think your Bend, Oregon home has gained value this year? That's really interesting too. So is the economic recovery underway? These are all helpful things. And some of these, again, through Keeping Current Matters, I have the right to use them because I pay for those. But a lot of them, the ones that are most seen here on our website, the ones that seem to really hit people hard, are the original content. Fun real estate facts. We haven't blogged on that one for a long time, but I wrote this one about, did Amelia Earhart live in Bend, Oregon? I wrote that in 2018. We've had almost 1,600 views on it and a couple of comments. Why is there a spire on the top of the Empire State Building? There's 1,700 views on that. How to disinfect doorknobs. You know, these are fun things, interesting things, and I like to say blog about things that are of interest to you. Now, when you blog, it is going to be hard initially to start competing with what I do or what the national companies are doing. But what you could blog about and be an expert and be seen is when you start blogging about a specific neighborhood. Say your geographical niche, the place you really want to focus on is, let's think of something like Tillicum Village here in Bend. We have a new listing in Tillicum Village. Say that would be something I wanted to really focus on a lot. So I could start blogging about my listing, my brand new listing in Tillicum Village. And when I go back into the back end and I'm blogging about it, so let me go back up here. I'd add a blog entry and I say new listing in Tillicum Village, Oregon. And then I would be probably writing about heading to great home, great single level Bend home for sale. Single level Bend home for sale. Single level Bend home for sale. Those are key words for a lot of people. Then I would probably be putting in a photo. I'd be finding that photo off my desktop. I load it up in here, and then I'd say something about my listing and give some specifics about it. Then I would be putting in my meta keywords, Tillicum Village, Oregon, great single level Bend home, probably the address, that would be another thing, the address. So all these things then would be pulled through, and at the point of time when you actually would be Googling about that, say you Google Tillicum, Tillicum Village, Bend, Oregon. I have no idea. I just decided to see what's going up here. So here we go. We have Tillicum Village Owners Association is here. Tillicum Village Bend Real Estate. So somebody with Bend Real Estate is already doing some stuff with that. I've got Coldwell Bankers doing something here. Sun River Realty, Redfin has something here on the Kahalani Drive. Obviously, there are things that you could do if you start doing Googling regularly about Tillicum Village, you would be up here. So my recommendations for people who really want to start working like a specific geographic niche, or say you were also someone who wanted to work something like golf communities in Bend. So really this is your geographic niche or your type of niche. You're an expert in all the golf communities in Bend, Oregon. That way you could be seen through these sort of bloggings, and you could be blogging consistently and using those keywords so that you're seen out there and are the expert. Did this make a lot of sense to people? Does anyone else have comments or questions?
No, I really like this. This is interesting. I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to need some more help. I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the pickleball world for me.
Yeah, I know it's a different type of thing to do, but the thing is, if you want to be seen on the internet in a specific market or a specific way, this is the key thing to do. I mean, yes, you can be sending posts out there on social network, social media, but having the backlinks to pull people back to your website is such a key component of how to be seen very, very well that way. Making sure that, I know blogging isn't for everybody, but if you did nothing but just post your own listings on a regular basis. Yeah, Cinda, you have a website. So say I did this.
Yeah, I'm really working on it. You know, and it's
Yeah.
moving forward. Every week we do a little bit more, and yeah, I'm excited to get this part moving now. So this
Now,
hit me.
if you wanted to have a blog here, see Brad. He will set you up with that blog. It has the same look as what I've got here. Then you can start blogging.
Okay.
But say
I'm thinking to start with restaurants and to start with pickleball, and then where I live.
Yeah, you can start blogging about pickleball. Absolutely, that's something. And then you would be known as the person who knows everything about pickleball. And by the way, I happen to be a realtor too. Or there's something else that you do. You know wine. Having been, being affiliated with a wine, you be blogging about different types of wine. There's a lot of people out there who love that. And wine and real estate to me go hand in hand together.
Yeah. So I'll have to get in touch with Brad. That's the next step, I think.
Absolutely. And then another thing that you could be doing is if you do have that blog heading, if nothing else, say you have a listing, say you have a new listing in Sisters, say this is your listing. That would be awesome, isn't it? So say you have this as a listing here, nothing else, share it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And note this is pulling people back to you. Make sure it's your listing. And I say, here's my brand new listing. And again, you see here, it's cindahansen.benpremierrealestate.com. It's pulling people back to your URL.
Wow. Okay. How about sold? Should you blog about your solds too?
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that.
What about the sold product? You know, you like when you closed in escrow and
things that you've sold.
Yeah.
For that, we'll have to, because our IDX feed only covers active listings. What you would need to do is we'd have to set up a separate page for you for solds, and then we'd have to manually put in your solds into that page.
Okay.
But that could be done, and then you could be saying, here's my, a page about, oh gosh, it could be a link even here or a link up here, my recent sales, something like that. That would pull people back to your page there, and then you can say, here's why people should list with me, something like that, but it wouldn't be a live thing as opposed to active listings. Anyone else have anything? One thing I did wanted to talk about just real quick. I sent out to everybody that report yesterday about what's been happening as far as year-to-date sales, which was really interesting for me because, with COVID and everything as crazy as it is right now, it's really hard to know how we are actually doing. And I haven't done a comparison for a long, long time. And when I did that, it was really encouraging to see how well we are doing as a brokerage. You have to recognize we have 50 brokers. When you take into consideration the number of brokers we have versus some of these brokerages have 150, 120. Our sales per broker actually means we're number 3. If you look at it from that perspective, you look at the average volume divided by the number of agents we have, we're actually the number 3 producing brokerage when you consider how few agents we have compared to these others. So that is extremely encouraging to think about. Also, I know after this month, we have a lot of high-end stuff that's closing. It should pop our volume up even a little bit higher. So I'll produce some information on that to give to you guys later. after I have those figures. Before we break today, does anyone have haves or wants? Information that you want to share with us? Any haves or wants? I know right now we're having a lot of lack of inventory impacting everybody with a lot of multiple offers. Hard to find property for your clients. It's challenging times. So I know that's difficult. We have a lot of multiple offers happening. Anyone else have anything that you can share? Anything happening in your world? Anything that you're curious about? Anything you need me to research?
I'm going to come in today because I need a little help with the portals on Flex.
Okay.
And I find Flex interesting. I find it really too customizable. And I think I've dug a little too deep and I need to step back and make it a little more simple.
Okay. If I'm not in the office, I have a 12:30 meeting, which I think might go as far as till maybe till 2 at the latest. And I have an 11 o'clock meeting as well. But I know Emily should be in here and she should be able to help with some of that too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, if not, enjoy this weather and let me know how we can help you. Thanks so much, everybody.